All right, hello people watching this video. We are starting with, we're going to start using charts to look up some information. This is 6-1. We are on example 3. So we talked about before how you can use this easy chart. I'm going to scroll down. How you can use this easy chart if you have z-scores that are perfect. So like if I scored an 85 exactly, and a standard deviation of 5, this would be 90, 95, 100, right? In these spots, okay? Yeah. This would be 80, this would be 75, this would be 70, okay? Let me show you where we're going with this, okay? If I say what percent of people scored between a 75 and an 80, you would say 13.5%-ish, right? Yeah. Like that's that, okay? But what if I say how many people scored like between a, let's say 91 and 97. That's the problem. We don't know those cutoff marks because those aren't exactly like defined on our chart here, okay? So when we do that, we can figure those out. We just have to use this big old massive chart, okay? It is not that hard to do, okay? So the sooner you learn how to do this, the easier life will be for you. It's really not that bad, okay? The first thing that we need to talk about is finding a z-score, okay? We found z-scores before. Everything has to be converted to a z-score, and it is your z-score, I'm going to do z-score, equals the number of standard deviations, your value is from the mean. So if you have a standard deviation of 2, you are 2 standard deviations above the mean. If you have a standard deviation of negative 1.7, you are 1.7 standard deviations below the mean. There is a formula for it, and it is this. X minus X bar divided by the standard deviation. I'll call it S. Okay? X minus X bar. Here's what X means. X is your value.
Can you go up just a little bit?
Yep. X is your value. X bar is the mean or the average. Okay, and S is the standard deviation. That is how you convert everything to a z-score. It's not that hard. Okay, not a hard thing. Okay, I don't think in this first example they're going to have us calculate it. They're going to just say your z-score is this, and they're going to have us start using the chart. Okay, but this is the formula that you're going to need probably on the back side and to do the rest of the homework. Okay, so make sure you have that written down somewhere. X minus X bar. Just like commit it to memory right now because you're going to need to memorize it. X minus X bar divided by the standard deviation. We've done that before. Here you go. Ready? First example, bone density. All right. A bone mineral density test can help identify your likelihood of osteoporosis. Okay. A disease that causes bones to become more fragile and more likely to break. We convert your score and put it in a z-score, and then that tells us the probability or the chance of you getting osteoporosis, okay, with that z-score, okay? So z-scores have a mean of 0. When we convert it to a z-score, it starts with 0, and then we have like 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then -1, -2, -3 on this side, okay? That's what a z-score does, okay? It says, I'm going to skip down to this last paragraph. A randomly selected adult undergoes a bone density test, and they find the probability, they want us to find the probability that this person has a bone density test score that is less than 1.27. So this person's z-score is 1.27, which means they are 1.27 standard deviations above average for whatever your bone density should be, right? Okay. We're going to use the table to do this. If this number was 1 exactly or 2 exactly, I could just use this easy chart, this one right here, and add the percentages together, right? Okay. If it was 1 or 2 exactly, I just add those together and I find it, okay? But the fact that it's 1.27, I have to look at this chart, okay? Now, here's the deal. There is 2 different sides to this chart. I'm going to go so that they can see what I'm doing. We're going to be using this chart because 1.27 is not a perfect like 1 or 2 or 3 number, okay?
All supposed to be perfect things.
Those will all be perfect ones, the top part. Okay. The bottom part will not.
When it says below 92, that doesn't mean like
take
92, 91. That just means 91, 90, 89.
Yes.
It doesn't include
Sure.
92.
Yes. Yes, correct. Okay. So we use this positive negative chart when we have numbers that are z-scores that are not perfect solid numbers, like 1.27, okay? All right. You choose it based on whether the z-score is positive or negative. So we're going to be on the positive side because 1.27 is a positive number. So I'm looking up a z-score of 1.27. I'm going to write on here, okay? Here's what this means. Listen to this very carefully. This is superly important. Every single number, we're going to look up these z-scores right here on this chart and look for this number over here. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But what this number is going to tell us is, look at this little shaded box that's in the top left corner of your chart. The z-score right here of 1.27, z-score of 1.27, which we're going to look up here in a second, it will give me a percentage. It will give me a percentage, and that percentage is going to tell me how many people are below me,
So if
right?
you want above, you just.
If you want above, you would subtract from 100%. So if I say, what percent of people have a z-score that's above 1.27, you would subtract that from 100%, okay?
Yeah.
Every single time you look at this chart, it's always going to measure how many people are below that z-score.
Okay.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay? All right, so remember that, all right? So I want to know the probability or the percent of people that are below 1.27. Here's how this works, okay? You're going to start by looking at this column right here, and you're going to go to 1.2. You see 1.2 right here. 1.2 right here, and then you go all the way over to where it says 0.07 at the top, because that would be 1.27 together. And it says 0.8980. Is that right? Mine's kind of fuzzy. 0.8980. Yes? Agreed? Okay, I'm going to go back to my notes. Sorry, you people who I'm making sick over there. Whatever. Okay, 0.8980. That means I have an 89.8% chance of getting osteoporosis with a z-score or a bone density score of 1.27. Does that make sense? Or, in other words, 89.8% of people are below me, depending on how the question is asked, right? Okay. Good? Yes? That's how you read this chart. Okay? They gave me the z-score. If they don't give me the z-score and they give me the values, I have to convert it to a z-score and do that actual thing, right? Okay, let's go to a next example. Go to the next page. Here we go. This one is a little bit harder because they say, using the same bone density test, find the probability that a randomly selected person has a result that is above a -1. Okay, a value above -1 is considered to be a normal range for a bone density reading. Anybody that's above a -1. So here's what I want you to do. When you do these problems, it's a really good idea to chart it, okay? And I always put 0 in the middle, okay? -1 as a z-score will be right here. -1, okay? Now, always think to yourself, if I'm doing the percent that is above that, is that going to be more than 50% or less than 50%? More, because it's the majority of the chart. We're looking at that whole thing right there, okay? So what we're doing is, you could, since -1 is a perfect number, you could look it up on this chart, right? -1 and then just add those together, right? But we're going to look it up using this chart, and we're going to go to the negative side, okay? So if we go to the negative side,
0.1587.
negative side, keep in mind that if you look at this little negative chart in the top right corner of your negative chart, it also reads everything below, right? Every time you look up a number on this chart, whether it's the positive or negative side, you are reading the percentage that are below that, okay? So if I do -1 exactly, I'm waiting for it to unfuzz here. -1 exactly would be -1.00, which is this column right here, 0.1587. Is that what you said? 0.1587. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and 0.1587 is 15.87%. Okay, but again, that reads just below. So that's these people. So what percent of people are going to score above a -1? If you subtract that, like 84.13%, I think, is what you get if you subtract. Yeah? Yes. Okay. So that's just, if it comes out to be a nice number, like -1, -2, -3, something like that, right? You can use this chart, but otherwise you have to use this, and it just measures everything to the left. Good? Okay, let's do something else where we have to calculate. Here we go. They want between. Okay, so I really encourage you, when they're asking for between, draw the picture, draw the bell curve. I don't care if mine's ugly. Okay, put 0 in the middle. I want between -1, which is here, and -2.5 as a z-score, which is here. Okay? All right, this is a little bit more involved. So what I'm looking for is this percent chunk. Is that going to be more than 50% or less than 50%? Like, looking at the chart, it's like a little chunk, right? Less than 50%. So here's what we do. We already looked up -1, and I found what percent were below -1. 0.1587 or 15.87. That was below a -1. What percent of people, according to the chart, are below -2.5? According to the chart, you're still on the negative side. 0.0062. I believe it. Okay, so like less than 1% are below a -2.5, 15% are below that. How do I figure out what percent is right here? Exactly, I subtract those two numbers, okay? So 1587 minus the 0.0062, that would be like 0.1525. So 15.25% of people would have a bone density between a -1 and -2.5, right? You just look up both numbers and you subtract to find the between part. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah? No?
Wait,
Yeah.
If
Did
you
I
have-
do it wrong?
if you have-
15.86.
a positive and a negative. So it's both going this way, so you would subtract.
You would still subtract if you have one
100
positive, one
from
negative.
This, so
No, you still, everything goes to the left. Just still leave everything to the left. We'll go through that. Okay? All right. Let's go to another example. Here we go. Oh, I like this one. Okay, this one is gonna show up on your homework assignment like number, I don't know, on the cookie side. Number 9 and number 10 and number 11 and number 12 are gonna show up. This is gonna be like 9, 10, 11, 12 on the cookie side. Okay, here you go. Watch this. This one's the hardest one. Ready? This one's the hardest one. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna draw my bell curve so that I can see what they're asking for. 0 goes here in the middle. Now, they are saying with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, so standard normal bell curve, they want me to find the 95th percentile, which means that if you have a 95th percentile, that means 95% of the people are below you. 95th percentile. So where do you live according to this chart?
up yonder.
You live like all the way up here. This is where you live, right?
Okay.
And here's what they're giving us. They are giving us the percentage. They're giving us this number, right? If I convert 95% to a decimal with 4 decimal places, it would be 0.9500. Do you see that?
Yep.
0.9500, right? So what we're going to do is, this is a look up backward. Okay, I'll use that terminology later on as well. You're going to look it up backwards in the table, okay? Are you going to be on the positive side or the negative side?
Positive.
You're going to be on the positive side. So here's what I mean by look up backwards.
Wait,
Since they're
wait,
giving us the percentage, we're going to be on the positive side. We are looking for 0.9500 in this chart, or whatever is closest to it.
9.05.
Okay, they actually have a
4.5.
star 4.9500. Okay, 0.9500 lives exactly between those. So do you see this star right here in the middle on the chart? If you go all the way down, he has a z-score of 1.645.
Yeah.
Okay, so this person that is in the 95th percentile is going to have a z-score of 1.645. That's what their bone density score would be. Okay, so when they give you the percentage, you have to look it up backwards. Does that make sense? Looking it up backwards in the chart. Good? Happy with that? Okay, is this too hard yet?
No.
We're not doing too bad? Okay, let's do another one of these. This is the
Wait,
bottom
92.
2.5%, okay?
You know
The bottom 2.5%. We're going to try to find the z-score for that one. Find the bottom 2.5%. Here's 0. If I am in the bottom 2.5%, I'm all the way over here. That means 2.5% are below me. And if I convert that to 4 decimal places like the chart has it, what is 2.5% as a decimal of 4? 0.0250. That's what I'm looking up in the chart. Are you on the positive chart or the negative chart? Negative chart. 0.0250 on the negative side. 0.0250. They have a star for that one also, I think. No, they don't. 0.0250 right here. It's perfect. Exactly on. Do you see that? 0.0250. It's over here, like in the middle of the chart, right? About here.
-1.96.
Negative 1.96. If you match it, go over here. This is negative 1.9. Go up 2.06. So negative 1.96. Do you see that? All right, right here. Here we go. So this guy has a z-score of negative 1.96. That's his bone density score if you're in the bottom 2.5%. Happy with this?
We still on
Yeah.
number 7?
Put that away. That was number 7. That's example 7. Okay, good? Don't worry about example 8. Okay? All right, I want to do one with you on the cookie side. I want to do one of them with you on the cookie side. Okay, so go to your homework. Your homework is to do the rest of this.
Do number 10.
So you should be able to do the rest of these with that information. It does take a little bit of time. Do the rest of those and then do the cookie side. You might already have some of this filled out.
I have a question.
We do number 10 on the back on the cookie and number 14 on the other.
Sure.
We don't do 8 and 9?
What? You do all of them.
No.
Yeah, you do 8 and 9.
We come back to those now?
I just told you not to do them yesterday. Whatever. Okay. So you should be able to do those now. I guess 9 is asking for a z-score. So what is the z-score for 97? This is where you use the formula. X minus X bar divided by the standard deviation.
Okay.
That's what number 9 is asking for. Do you need to see that?
No.
No? Yes? Okay. Z-score for 97. So where does 97 go into this formula?
X.
That's X. That's my X, right? 97. What's the average from above?
89.
89. Okay. And the standard deviation was what?
3.
3. Okay. Are we going to be a positive z-score or a negative z-score? We're above average, right? We're a positive z-score. So
How is it 3? Because it's 98 up top on there.
It says in the direction.
right here in the directions.
Standard deviation of
89 is
3
the average with the standard deviation of 3. Those are the numbers that you use. Yeah.
I don't know if this helps you, but that's what I got.
Okay, so 97 minus 89 is like 8. Is that 8? Divided by 3. 8 divided by 3 as a decimal is 2.6 repeating. Now, what do we put that as? Like z-scores on our chart are measured to how many decimal places?
So you have
The z-score, not the percentage. The z-score is on the side, 2 decimal places. So this would become 2.67. That would be the z-score for 97, 2.67, because we always do 2 decimal places. That's what the chart is, right? Okay? Good, good? All right, let's go to the cookie side. Here we go. Let's do some of these.
number 10. Oh, hey, look at that.
Hey, no, let's not leave that up there.
1, 6, 5 plus 2, 3, 4, 2, 9, 2.
Gone. Gone. Number, let's do number 11 really quick. This one's a tough one.
I have that.
Number 11. We're gonna do number 11.
How about we do them both?
Well, we'll
And
see.
14
We'll
in
see.
there.
You try those ones by yourself, but you should be able to do number 11. Here we go. Number 11. Draw your bell curve. Here's 0. Last one. Number 11. We are trying to find the middle 50%.
Is this on cookie?
This is the cookie side. Number 11, the middle 50%. The average number of chocolate chip cookies in a bag is how many from above? So I don't have to scroll up.
1263.
1263 is the average. What's the standard deviation?
I don't know.
117, something like that. Yeah, 117? Okay. Standard deviation is 117. Yeah? Good? Okay, so here's my chart. I'm ready to go. The middle 50%. What the heck? The middle 50%. The middle 50%. That means like from here to here.
Yeah.
This is 50%.
Which would be, what's?
This is confusing. I'm trying to find the z-score here and the z-score here. The
So
middle
25 and 25.
50%. So that means 25% is here and 25% is here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Like in that range. What percent is, but the chart,
You're so dumb.
the chart has to read, if I'm trying to find this z-score, the chart has to read from here and beyond. What percent would be below that marking? Right there. 25%. 0.2500. Yeah? 25% is below there. Do you see how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, 50% is the middle. That means 25 here, 25 here. But the chart reads how many is there and below. So I'm going to go 0.2500.
Wait, what?
0.2500 is below. Okay, now go to your negative chart.
How did you find that?
How did I find that was 0.2500? By adding. Go to your chart. Are we on the positive or negative side?
We just, decline. Thanks.
Yeah. 0.2500 on the negative side. If you look up on the chart, 0.2500, where is he
I
located?
don't know.
Let me scroll down.
I'm so confused.
0.2500. Nope, I gotta go up.
How did you find that Z?
0.250. We haven't found a Z yet.
Then how'd you get 0.2500?
Okay, darling.
Negative 1.96.
Let's back up. Let's back up. Okay, all right, darling. Are you listening?
Yeah,
The middle 50%.
yeah,
That means 25% is here
yeah.
and 25% is here. If I'm trying to find this Z-score, I need to know what percent is below this, right? Which would be 25%, yeah? Or 0.2500. We haven't looked anything up yet.
25.
Okay, 25%. All right, so I'm trying to look it up in the chart backwards. This is a backward one,
Down there.
okay?
Okay.
So I'm gonna look it up in the chart. On the negative side,
So we find 25.
0.2500 is not on there perfectly. Is 2514 the closer one?
Yeah.
Yep, this one. It's what? Negative 0.67, he says.
We're just going to the closest one?
You go by the closest one. Okay? So this guy's Z-score is negative 0.67. That's his Z. Okay, negative 0.67. What's the other one going to be?
Point positive.
Positive 0.67. Okay? So those are my two Z-scores for that amount.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal. We're not quite done yet. Are you following this so far?
Yep.
Last problem. Give me your full attention for the next 30 seconds. What range of chocolate chips gives me the middle 50%? So, what I'm trying to do, I know that the Z-score is this. I know the Z-score is negative
Okay,
0.67.
So, we add that
So Z equals X minus
1263 and subtract it.
1263 over 117. I know this number. I know that this is negative 0.67. I am trying to find this number. So you're like working the formula backwards. Boys, you need to listen to this.
I'm listening.
Okay?
Okay. So
So
we're gonna multiply times
multiply by 117 over to the other side.
117, which is
Okay? And then add the 1263.
negative 0.67 times 117 is negative 78.39
Okay, now add that to 1263.
plus 1263. Okay, so the bottom range is 1184.612.
We'll go 6. 1184.6. Okay? Then if I do the top number, I have Z equals X minus 1263 divided by 117.
Times 117 equals
0.67 goes here.
63 is
Yep, you're going to multiply 117 over
1341.4.
and add the 1263. What?
1341.4.
1341.4. There you go. Okay, so after you get the Z-scores, which you look up from the chart, you put it into the formula and you like multiply by the standard deviation and add the average, right? And that will give you your range. So when it says, what is the range of chocolate chips that is in the middle?
My goodness.
1184.6 chocolate chips to 1341.4 chocolate chips. That is what you want for an answer. Got it? Those are the hardest ones because there's the most steps to those.
10% on this side.
Anybody have questions about how that works?
I
Okay,
suggest
you got a long homework assignment. I suggest you work.
Yeah.
You got a lot of problems. Some of them aren't hard. Like some of them are just a lookup thing.
Problems.
Okay? I bet you have a lot of problems. Okay?
All
right. All right, I'll come over and help you. Any other
So-
questions
Below
before I stop the video?
would be- okay, so
Okay.
20